I think that right now we're in a world that is so polarized and so angry that all I want them to take away from the film is just to see each other a little bit better, to see each other and to try to empathize and understand each other so we can pull each other back to the center where we love each other instead of just hate each other. When I first heard the story, I really felt that it was a metaphor. It meant so much to me that these people, these three heroes, did something courageous by pulling someone from hatred all the way on the extreme, all the way over to the side of tolerance and acceptance through love and faith, that I just knew that at some point that people were going to really, really want it. And unfortunately, it's more relevant now than it ever was. Well, the second I read it, the second I read the blurb in the magazine, I sort of came around and I started working on the story of it. And I wrote this movie, the first draft of this movie, I wrote it in 2 weeks. It just sort of came out of me. So, and then from then on, I just felt it was such a meaningful and worthy story that we just kept battling to get it made. 20 years. Yeah, it was. But it was, it was totally worth it. So the Echo Project, I always wanted to do something that would give back to the community, to the church, and to the Reverend. And so we started the Echo Project. They finally took possession of the theater. And when they did that, I thought to myself, why can't we get the studio behind doing something tangible to turn that theater, and it's a great irony, to turn the KKK Museum into a community center of tolerance and love and forgiveness. And so, the studio just got all over it and they got behind it. We've got commercial partners now and corporate partners, and we're going to try to, make this thing happen. So, you can go to rehabhate.com and donate money. So all the proceeds from the Charleston Film Festival or the opening night film are already going in there. And so, anybody who wants to chip in would be great.
That redemption costs, and so does true love. Real love costs. It's easy to say, we romanticize it, we think it's sweet and flowery. If you were tested with hate and you still say you're about love, to stand up and be about that is just as difficult as it is to be redeemed. I couldn't believe it wasn't further back in years. I couldn't believe that it was 1996. I couldn't believe that this husband and wife are still involved in activism. What I heard at the time is that people bring a lot of different cases to their church, and they hadn't lost a case. And they're not lawyers, they're activists. I think that's amazing. It's like they're an unsung church or hero or something. And then to have had this story happen, floored. And then it didn't hurt to be able to play Forrest Whitaker's wife. What are you saying?
I hope that the film is trying to touch on this concept of forgiveness, of being able to overcome or heal from your past pains, to make choices that are inclusive with people, and to understand that part of that forgiveness represents love. That's one of the only things that we'll be able to do. I mean, Martin Luther King talked about it. He had a quote about it. He says, "Darkness cannot push out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot push out hate, only love can do that." So those are the things that are real and effectual. So I think this Reverend that I got a chance to play in this story, it's a true story. So you get to really mark ourselves in time and see what struggles we're having as a country and a nation. But then at the same time, you get the opportunity to see what happens when you, as he's done, dedicate your life to healing and to uplifting and to finding unity between people. And when you're tested against your beliefs, when love is love enough, it's a big, powerful question to ask. I think it's important. I mean, we're in a country and a time where polarization is happening between groups, not just in this country, but all over the world. And I think that we have to be able to find a way to bring people together and to pass by those kind of pains, And I think it's important for us to understand that it is possible. It is possible if we work together to be able to become a piece of humanity that considers everyone as individuals, that allows everyone to have their place and their power as individuals and human beings. So.
I hope they understand this is America. At some point, we have no choice for the people to come together, and we're going to have to create some type of dialogue where we have to listen to each other, whether we like it or not. We have to learn how to listen, even when we disagree. And we have to find that point where we come together and make America what it should be. Not what it has been, but what it should be, because the whole world watching us, and they are dependent on us, and we owe the world something. And I think we owe them help to show them how to do it. Learning how to love, learning how to forgive. And you do that while you take a stand. You take a stand and fight the evils of our time. You just don't be silent. Well, you know, when I saw this great character, Forrest Whitaker, and Crystal Fox playing my wife, boy, she played her to the T. 'Cause that's who my wife is. And so I just thought about other great people who should have had their story told better than mine. This is what we do in most things every day. So I just think, I hope they pick up that we should be on a mission to make America what it needs to be.
I hope they take away from the film that love conquers all. We're not taught to hate people. That's a learned behavior. So if you can learn to hate, you can learn to love. Because I think we're living in really kind of crazy times right now. I think the world is sort of imploding, and I think we need to get back to basics, which is what I was saying before, that it doesn't matter what you look like or what your religion is or where you come from. We all just need to kind of open our eyes and accept each other a little bit more.
I mean, I think that love conquers all. Really, I think all of us, specifically in the South, have this message that we either innately have made a part of our lives, that we're supposed to love our enemies. Rather you got it in church, or rather you simply were looking for the remedy to some of the heinous realities of what the South has represented for many, many, many years. And to know that it's still relevant even in this time. You don't understand the nature of even how you're introduced to it. How a man in the South could be introduced to the Ku Klux Klan, and what really was the basis of it. Was he born with that anger and that hatred in his heart? No, it was taught. And it was also, too, remedied with love. Well, I think that the truth is that you've heard the other side of the story more than you've seen indications of redemption like this. So that's why I felt it was important to be able to share this actual real life story with the world. It was a passion project for everyone involved far before I got involved and engaged in it. But when I did understand that this is actually a real reference, it let me know that this is the beginning of us understanding one another.